Do it. We're live.
Hello and welcome to the Weekly Word. Today is Thursday, May 2nd. No, it's not. It's May 1st, isn't it? Oh my God, it's May 2nd now.
Mhm.
I never know the date. This
Or-
is becoming
or the-
a recurring theme.
Or the day, since we do it on Thursday. You
It
don't
is
know that.
Thursday. I said
I know,
that.
I know. You said it, but you
That was
never
a
know.
start. Today is Thursday, May 2nd, apparently. I'm Morgan West.
And I'm Rich Parler, and I just dropped my Mogwai off at the pool.
Oh my goodness.
What? We'll be fine.
Okay, I hope so.
Yeah.
Today we are not joined by Arkin from the Short Rest Chronicles.
You know what's going to happen, right?
No. Is he going to walk in, you think?
No.
What?
My Mogwai.
What about it?
Do you know what that is?
I only know the band Mogwai.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
You have no idea what's going to happen when I dropped him in the pool.
No.
Okay.
What is it?
You should watch Gremlins.
Oh. Okay.
It's
I
great.
should watch Gremlins. You want to watch it with me?
Sure.
Okay, good. Anyway, welcome to the Weekly Word. We are recording tonight from Lindenhurst, not at Legendary Realms, however.
No.
So please let us know if we've got any audio, any video problems. We are recording on the fly without a monitor to refer to, so bring your comments in. Those help us out a lot.
Sometimes.
They do.
Yeah.
often do.
Only bring the negative ones. Although a positive comment once in a while would be okay.
That's true.
All right. So tonight we're going to talk about a bunch of stuff that we found on Twitter and other places because we like to react to some of these things and we thought they were very cool.
Mm-hmm.
So first, if you could choose a game to be remastered, which would it be and on what console?
Mm-hmm.
This, Morgan, you found this one, right?
I did find this one,
All right.
yes. This was a tweet from Die Hard Diva.
Yes.
So when I saw this, a lot of games jump out at you just for the visuals.
Yes.
I'd love to see better graphics from the classic games that I played. But after I thought about it a little bit more, there's a certain level of appreciation you have for those antiquated graphics, right?
Yes. Yeah,
so, the first one I thought of was Yoshi's Story from N64, which was a favorite game of mine. It was just so cute. But I don't know that I would have the same level of appreciation if it had that, like, really obnoxious, like, overly curved animation that is getting popular now.
Right.
So I put that to the back burner. What I've kind of landed on is a game that I played a lot. It was on the computer. It's a game by Sierra called Pharaoh.
Okay.
Did you ever play it?
I have not played it, but I understand. I
So
know
it's
it.
one of those city building, dynasty building games.
Yep.
I
Kinda
loved
like,
that game.
SimCity. It's kind of like Civilization.
Yes.
Yep.
I logged so many hours on that game, and it's still beautiful. Going back, if you look at the graphics now, it really does still have that same feel.
Yeah.
But I would love to see movement incorporated into the actual graphics. Like I would love to see like the grass have like wind movement. I think that it would be really amazing to see nowadays.
So I agree with you, and there's so many games I'd like to see remastered, but not necessarily improved.
Okay.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Like even going back to earlier Civilization, it was so much less complicated than the civilizations that came later that I remember one civilization was so complex it's like I don't even want to play it. I like the simple mechanics, but in better graphics would be awesome. Like you said, some of the better cutscenes. But Galaga, I would like to see remastered in newer graphics, same mechanic.
Yeah, I would be cool with that.
I love it. I was just playing it about a month ago. I was just playing Galaga, and I loved it. There's definitely a certain feel to some of the games that I do like. I just replayed the first mission in Zelda, and I'm working on the second one again, just for fun of it, because I like to do that. But I would like to see... so there's a game called Vanguard.
Okay.
Back...
I'm not familiar with it.
No, it's an old arcade game. It was a side-scroller.
Okay.
It was a side-scroller. You were a spaceship, and you went through these different boards, and the music was cheesy, but it was a fun game to play, and I played that a lot at the Boys and Girls Club when I was in Virginia. And I'd like to see that one remastered. Plus a bunch of different RPG things. Phantasy Star. I like Phantasy Star. I'd like to see it remastered. Again, I like the mechanic. I don't want the mechanics changed. I just want the graphics and the music to change because, oh my god, like I'd love to play Phantasy Star, but be able to load in my own music.
Okay,
that would be awesome. And as far as what console, I play everything on PC and Switch. It doesn't mean that I would be against something if it came out on another console, but that's what I play.
Yeah.
You know, I play Switch, I play PC, oh, and my phone. Yeah.
You know what would be a cool one to see? Star Fox.
Okay. All right.
I would love to see that.
All right.
Just a little bit of updating I think would be good.
All right. That sounds good.
Next up is another tweet we found. Should heroes be responsible for collateral damage when saving the city, kingdom, world, galaxy, universe?
So this was brought to us by
Symat.
Symat.
SYMATT. Symat.
And it's a good question because, you know, there's two things, and you said it right before we went live. There's two things that in a D&D game that just never happen. One is money becomes irrelevant.
Yep.
Because PCs always have enough to pay whatever they need, and they're never spending it on anything.
Right.
And two, they don't usually care the damage they wreak. You know, how do you get around that? You know, oftentimes players don't pay for priestly services, healing and resurrection a lot of times, and they don't go into debt. They don't owe favors. They just say no. Right? They just say no because they don't need to do it, and then they wind up not doing it.
Right.
So should they be responsible for collateral damage?
I love it. I think it's a great idea. It brings a little bit more consequence into the game.
Yeah.
Which I come back to time and again. For me personally, consequences are the most important part of D&D. It's what I love about it so much. It's what I find most different from video games in general.
Yeah.
In that, you know, when you're playing D&D, there is a real threat that the character that you love is kaput, you know. Makes my actions a little bit more important, I think. So, what else? What's next up on the docket? Another tweet from Memes D&D.
All right, so in all fairness, I spend a lot of time on Twitter as of late. You know, so a lot of them are tweets that come across. You know, like a couple weeks ago when we found the stuff by SlyFlourish and DiceGeeks. That was kind of fun.
Yeah.
I have to reach out to DiceGeeks because he did say that he would definitely come in so we could talk about his product. I'd love to figure out how he found the time or the patience to sit down and come up with random, you know, D100 for all of these different things. So, but anyway, so here's something that we found. The question is immersion the reason you play D&D, or in general? If you can think of any more posts. Okay, so we're going to bring up a graphic in a quick second.
Because I think the graphic really says it all.
Yeah.
You know, is immersion the reason you play D&D? It's certainly a big part of it.
Yes. So here we go. So the graphic I just brought up, it says, instead of saying how much hit points do you have, say, are you bleeding or hurt at all? So yeah, sorry.
Right, I have it up.
Okay,
Sorry,
good. You do have it,
yeah.
right? So we're showing it to everybody out there. So
right.
The insight. So instead of saying I'd like to make an insight check, it's like, do I believe him? You know, little things like that. I think are fun.
Yeah.
And we've been trying harder on the Short Rest Chronicles. But what do you think?
I completely agree. Metagaming is, I think, the biggest problem that most players face when they're sitting around a table together, because it's so instinctual. Like, you've been out of the game for so long. It's very easy to just start thinking in terms of I'm still playing a game, as opposed to, you know, I'm in this universe, in this scenario, whatever that scenario is. This last one here on the graphic is probably my favorite, though. I cast the spell and say, describe the effing spell.
Yes.
Because I'll tell you what, that's probably my favorite part, and I'm gonna take you back for a moment. I'm gonna share a little something about D&D, and my experience actually at Legendary Realms. So I've been playing in Tuesday night D&D for I don't know, perhaps 6 months or so, and while I was playing, you get into a place where combat just feels like rolling dice, right?
Yep.
And that is not fun. It's not fun. Rolling a dice to see if you hit is only fun when you actually hit it. Otherwise, it feels like torture. So,
True.
So I had kind of become a little disillusioned at the table to that. And we got a stand-in DM at our table who was not familiar with 5e rules, and he just completely flew by the cuff. Like we didn't really play D&D that night. Yeah. I can't tell you what we played. He refused to tell us what system we were playing, but he told us to write 3 aspects of our character sheet down, and then we were told to nix the character sheet. And we had to play without it. His argument was that focusing on your character sheet pulls you out of the actual encounter. That you know what you can do, you know what you're capable of, and if you're not like following the verbiage of a spell or the verbiage of an ability, you're going to be more engaged and you're going to create a more dynamic combat. And he's absolutely right. It was so much different when there was no character sheet that I was staring at, like, oh gosh, what can I do next? What can I do next?
So it's interesting. That goes back to a conversation that we've had not too long ago about knowing what your character does. Mm-hmm. Steve gave it to us, how to be a better, what player are you, the 5 levels of different players. Mm-hmm. Maybe what we'll do is we'll bring that up in another another word again to go over it again and go through the video. I
don't think we did, actually.
No, we didn't. We spoke about it outside
we definitely
here.
Should.
For the Short Rest Chronicles.
Yeah.
And it's
great.
Absolutely correct in that you should know what you do, mm-hmm. right? I shouldn't, as the DM, and I don't mind, shouldn't always have to describe what happens with the spell.
Right.
Right? Like, I do it all the time, every time Gong Man casts his spell. It's mm-hmm. the same spell, and he uses it over and over and over.
Right.
Right? Mm-hmm. So he should know what the answer is. Mm-hmm. And, once I tell him that there's a failure, he could describe it. Not, I don't mm-hmm. have to describe the energy. If he wants it to look different, he should take ownership of it. I'm not saying he's doing anything wrong. I jumped in and I started doing that, so that's what the expectation is. But like you said, you don't have to succeed for something to happen. So one of the things that's a little known is I don't always, just because you don't make an ability check doesn't mean you fail. If it's descriptive, I'll be descriptive. Sometimes things partially succeed, and that's okay too.
You want to give us an example?
So if you're trying to do something athletic, right? Mm-hmm. If your DC to succeed is a 12. If you roll a 12, it means you did it. There's no flair, you did it, right?
Right.
But if you do an 11, or you do a 12, or you do a 10, that doesn't mean you didn't make it across what you were doing. Mm-hmm. Something else happens, mm-hmm. right? If you roll a 1, obviously, mm-hmm. something bad, mm-hmm. not necessarily, but it could be funny. Mm-hmm. But if you get
that's interesting.
If you do a 14 or an 18, then it's even more flair. Maybe mm-hmm. there's more bonuses. Maybe there's something better.
It brings me back to a sequence in a dungeon that I had for my campaign where my girls were trying to make it across a water trap, if you will.
Right.
Where they were leaping from lily pad to lily pad. And one of the girls' acrobatics check was wrong. So I described that the lily pad shifted under her feet and disturbed the water, and she noticed something within it. So it ended up being a great addition because the girls were much more clever getting across the water trap after that. Right. So it was very exciting. But it's a good point.
We were just told that audio is good.
Great.
Thank you very much.
Excellent.
So it doesn't seem, we also don't seem to be lagging at all. The internet in this place must be good.
That's excellent. I'm glad to hear that. So that was the headline should do you play D&D for immersion and how to not metagame?
You know,
guide to not metagaming.
Yeah, before we move on, I just wanted to say Shadowrun actually has a mechanic like that.
Oh.
Yes, because you're every time I think it's a 3 or a 4. No. Every 5 and 6 is a success, and you roll d6s.
Is that Shadowrun's
yes.
system? Because that's the same system that we ended up using with that DM that I was describing before.
Yeah. So Shadowrun's
5s and 6s were complete successes.
5s and 6s were successes, but you needed a certain amount of successes to succeed, to actually succeed in what you were doing.
That sounds roughly what it was. Yeah.
So, Smurfy Power's only 16 minutes late.
Oh, excellent.
Do I know Smurfy Power in real life?
I don't. No, you don't.
No. All right. Well, I already like her.
She's wonderful.
Yeah.
All right. So
next
topic. Next topic. Oh, I liked this one. Okay, this is actually an article from Game Informer. What level D&D character is Arya Stark?
Well, specifically, it says what level D&D rogue.
What level D&D rogue
Arya
is Arya Stark? Yes.
So, I think there's 2 questions here. One, is she a rogue? And 2, what level would she be?
Right.
And so I skimmed the article. I didn't read it fully. I apologize.
There was a lot of content in there. To be honest, I didn't even get to the full skim. I read, I think, probably 4 paragraphs before I skimmed 1 or 2 additional paragraphs, and then I gave up on the article. I hate to say it, but TLDR.
So here's the thing. What it boils down to is they have a discussion on how many hit points that Arya did, as opposed to the Night King did on her, and it boils down to that they believe that Arya is a level 10 rogue. So interesting. So it was interesting, and they did all the math. I mean, it just So what do you think? One, do you think she's a rogue?
I think she is.
Yeah?
Yeah.
There's nothing else she could be?
She could be a bard.
She could be a bard. She could be a fighter.
She could be a fighter.
Right? So I mean, I haven't done the analysis. I haven't done the analysis like they did. Like, okay, I see how they got to the
rogue.
So
I do.
I see how it was by Matt Miller, by the way. I see how he got there, and while that all makes sense, I would have to sit down and have to rethink it. What do you think? What does everybody else think? You think a rogue?
I think a rogue.
You know what? I honestly, at initial take, I said rogue.
Okay.
Yeah.
Without providing too many spoilers, the library sequence, which was most recently shown, I mean rogue. I've got to go rogue.
Okay. All right. I haven't seen it, so maybe I should.
Really?
Yeah.
Do you not watch?
So I know what's going on. I don't watch religiously. I may binge it before the end of the season and catch up. I don't like waiting week for week. Number one.
She's a swashbuckler rogue.
No, and
she is. I think.
Right, but a swashbuckler doesn't have to be rogue,
confident.
right? Could be bard, maybe Eldritch Knight.
Swashbuckler is the subclass of rogue.
I know it's the subclass of rogue, but in earlier editions, you could be there. It was rogue, and swashbuckler was also a subclass. Was also a kit you could use for other classes.
Oh, really?
Yeah, there was a difference between the fighter swashbuckler and the rogue swashbuckler. So
give it a watch. Give it a watch and let me know what you think.
I will.
I think so. I will like to say I had an adorable little aside with Alex when we were watching it. With
was it really adorable?
It was with the Night King.
Did you guys have like a stuffed animal and talk things?
No, not quite.
It wasn't that adorable.
I mean, I was like I had a blanket. I was cozy. It was cute.
Hot cocoa.
No hot cocoa. No. So I had this moment where we were watching it, and I was thinking in my head, what CR rating is the Night King? Because I was just like, my mind was blown watching
Apparently
him
17.
raised dead. It was incredible. It was really incredible. But I don't know about that.
So one last thing I'd like to take away from here is...
Let me finish.
Finish. Okay, yeah.
So I was thinking in my head what CR rating was the Night King, and I couldn't come up with anything other than that quintessential gaming moment where you're running through an area that you shouldn't be, and you see the red skull pop up on the baddie, and I was just like, run away, run away. You know that classic, you're not doing any damage to him. He is way too high level for you. Like, that's how it felt, like, watching it. I couldn't. Nope.
So, what I'd like to point out is that what Matt Miller did here was one of the failures of 3.5 D&D. Because what it boils down to is, look, and I thought the article was great, and I like the way he did that and everything, but who cares? The Night King is a baddie. Arya is an NPC. They have whatever powers the DM says that they have.
Yeah.
Right? And that's okay. In 3.5, you'd have to figure it out. Oh, how could the Night King do that? What level is he? What spells does he have? How many times has he done something during the day, you know? And you could never take what you watched or what you read, you could never take that and translate it to D&D. Now you can. It doesn't matter. You want to make a Night King? Make a Night King.
That's cool.
Nobody's going to stop you.
Yeah.
Remember that, DMs. Don't try to map it one for one. Just do it.
Yeah. That's a good idea. That's good advice. All right. Next up. All right. So this is another tweet from at 65th Victor, 65th Victor. You want to do the honors?
Yeah. So, Samantha Darcy at 65th Victor. So she posed a question, a little quip that you fill in the blanks, and I just wanted to see what Morgan would fill in.
Oh no!
My character never goes on an adventure without rations, a blank, and blank.
Are we talking about Nepeta, or just in general any character? If
Pick one.
If I were okay,
let's start with Nepeta.
We'll do Nepeta. Nepeta would never go on an adventure without some glass vials and Frank.
Oh, interesting. Since she's without Frank.
She wouldn't leave without Frank.
But she is on an adventure without Frank.
No, she's with Frank.
Oh, Frank.
Frank.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Who hasn't really been introduced yet. I attempted a little introduction, but we didn't quite get there on Monday. How about you? Are you playing in any games, or are you just DMing?
I only DM.
Really?
Yeah.
Is that by choice or by function?
It's mostly by function. Although, Steve does he does DM on alternate Wednesdays, but the reason why I'm not DMing on alternate Wednesdays is so that way I can get some stuff done. So I don't always make it to the game. When I was playing a female high elf cleric.
Okay.
And I don't know. I don't know how I would answer that. I haven't played in so long. My character never goes on an adventure without rations, although sometimes I have. I've forgotten food.
Oh, God.
A rope.
Okay, that's a good one.
And a way out.
That's nice. I like that. Rafia from Tuesday night would never go on an adventure without rations, her maul, and salt, which anybody watching from Tuesday night will understand.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. I think my my favorite ranger character probably would never go on an adventure without rations, although he would just forage for them.
Yeah.
Ranger.
Yeah.
Right. So
exactly.
you'd probably leave without the rations anyway.
Yeah. Can I add another thing in there? If we're getting rid of the rations, I'll find them. We'll find food, right? Yeah, there are plenty of other things I would rather go with than rations, I think. The world is full of food.
Absolutely. So he would go on with, he wouldn't even need the rations. He would just take, he'd never go on an adventure without a death wish and his short sword, because he can't hit the damn thing with his other sword.
Oh, no.
No. He was horrible.
Okay, so let's move on. Next
I
up.
don't want to move on.
Yes, you do.
Of course I do.
So this is another tweet from Cleric of TMF.
Okay, so this isn't really too much of a discussion.
Okay.
But Cleric of Tiamat is running an adventure and decided that he's going to have his players roll up 17th or 18th level characters so they could do the epic level one shot. I haven't raised a character to level 18. I don't know, would you feel awkward rolling up a character of that level, not really understanding the powers, to just do a one shot?
Yeah, I think I would, with one exception, and it's an exception on circumstance.
But think about how long the rounds would be. I don't know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, you would need time to get into it. I think actually forcing forcing the player to actually write it. I would make my character, I keep saying characters. You're going back to last week. Do you accidentally call people by their name? No, I just call people characters now. No, I would tell them to physically write it on their character sheets. I would tell Alame to get on the table and... Oh, wait, not Alame.
Yes.
So actually writing the character sheet would go a long way, and reminding you, oh, I think I saw something along the lines of what I would want to use right now.
Right.
And scroll back. But my argument would be less about how long the rounds would take, and more in terms of feeling like I haven't earned the right to play that character and use those abilities.
All right, yeah, there's something to that effect.
So
sure.
The only situation that I would feel comfortable doing that is if I were playing with a group of players that I had played with in the past, or that I liked to play with.
Okay.
And then this was going to be a situation where we could only play together for the one time, the one night, because we all are living our busy lives, and we've managed to get together, and we want to do something really intense that we'll remember for a long time. And I think in that circumstance, I would consider doing that. But otherwise, I'm very anti-jumping ahead in level. I don't usually like starting a campaign at X level. I like starting it at either level 1 or occasionally level 3, depending. But I want to earn the right to use those abilities that come later on in game.
Right.
I'm very focused on that. In fact, I like, as often as possible, I prefer to come up with reasons for why my character now has these abilities. For example, Nepeta. Nepeta just leveled to 2, right?
Right.
And so she's earned into her circle of spores. And I'm writing all these things down. I'm like, well, okay, suddenly I have the ability to use these spores. But now if you go back, I don't know if you caught this when we were actually playing, but if you go back and you watch the video, at one point after we fought whatever it was, you had everyone rolling for perception, but I didn't roll. I was occupied looking at a fungus I found on the walls, and I was futzing with it, and I put some away, and I was like, that's probably how I could pull out the spores. Like, I was messing with something I shouldn't have been messing with in an area that was affected by the calamity, and now I've got some sort of really bizarre fungus who has infiltrated, my corporeal being, if you will. But so as I said, I like to find as much reason in game as possible for the abilities I get to use.
I was more focused on the group text about you turning into the most grossest things ever and disgusting
I'm
things.
Turn into such gross things.
I swear to God, I will. Never mind.
I will. Alex and I were talking about it. I was like, okay, I took charm.
No. You cannot conspire with Alex to come up with No.
I was trying to come up with a flavor.
I will figure out how to punish him.
I was coming up with a flavor for my various spells that I have. Okay, I have to share it now that we're talking about it, because I'm not going to use it in game, but I thought it was just the most repulsive thing I could possibly think of. Okay, so I was like, okay, charm person. I am not a charming person. My charisma is not high. So how could I charm someone? And I'm like, with my spores. It's my pheromones are getting into the person. They're affecting them neurologically. And I was like, well, how would my pheromones go? I'm like, am I like lifting my arms and like wafting like my pit smells at people. And Alex was like, Morgan, you cannot do that. And I have to agree with him. I can't. But you have to admit, that's probably the most repulsive way anyone could charm a person.
It's definitely one of the more repulsive ways.
Isn't it amazing?
Absolutely not.
Yes, it is.
No.
It's so good.
It's not. It's not. No, you stay away from that.
I won't use it, but I want
And if you
to.
transform into a spider, I will squish you. I will squish you.
I will be
I
squished.
don't like spiders.
Why?
Oh my God, they freak me out.
Oh, then I have to keep certain things to myself.
They're like what?
Nothing. Don't worry about it.
Like your pet spider?
No, not my pet spider.
No. What?
No, let's move on.
All right.
And the next headline is...
I was chopping leeks the other day for making soup.
Yum.
And I got to the top of the leek, and the pieces of the leek would fall off, right? And in there was something that looked so much like a spider. I freaked out.
Did you scream?
No, I didn't scream.
Oh.
But I did freak out. And it took me like a good 2 minutes to go back and look, and it turns out it was like the top of some other vegetable that was wet and just matted down.
That's so funny.
And it was unbelievable.
That's really funny. I love it. All right, shall we move on to the next section? What do you think?
We should. Smurfy's talking to you.
Morgan's ripoff version of Poison Ivy, is that what she's saying? Nepeta? Is that? I'm not sure.
Maybe.
What are you talking about? Give us a little more info.
Yeah. It always takes a couple minutes before you get to see this.
Yeah,
so
yeah, exactly.
We'll come back to this. We'll revisit. That's why we revisit.
It is. It's true.
I like revisiting.
All right. So what are we?
Okay. So this one was just fun because I saw it today.
Okay. Oh, okay.
This last one was by Goblin Katie.
Okay, yeah.
On Twitter, and the question, and I retweeted this because I had to. Says, does anybody else out there shake the gasoline nozzle while it's still in the car's gas hole to make sure you get every last drop? This was written before coffee, apparently.
I mean, okay. So here's my take. What
answer?
monster doesn't shake the gas nozzle?
Well, that's when I read that. I'm like, doesn't everybody?
Yes, I think everyone must, because like, what's wrong with you if you don't? Although I will say this, I learned something. I don't know if it was like bogus or not, but apparently, you know how, so like years ago, I would instinctually, the gas handle pops out when you're done, when you're full, right?
Yes.
But like if you're at 37, like my God, just go to 40, you know?
Yeah.
Apparently, a lot of systems will register that you're doing that and continue to charge you, but the emergency shutoff occurs and it will not keep giving you gas after that as a preventative measure to keep you from overfilling your tank.
So you're getting punished. They're going to punish you by fining you those extra pennies.
Well, yeah,
because they shut off, they turned off the gas already.
Pretty much.
Yeah, but you still got to shake the
you
gas.
You do always have to shake it. You got to shake it.
Like I don't understand. Like I've always done it. Like, is it there are people that don't?
I don't know. I've not encountered any.
I think I do. I think now
really,
as I'm talking about it, I think whenever someone pumps your gas,
they just go for it.
Like when it's full service.
Yeah.
I think full services, they just pump, they get to the number, and they just pull it out.
That's horrible. Yeah. It makes me nauseous thinking about.
Yeah. How much gas do they waste?
Oh my God. It's making such a mess. It's dripping everywhere. No. All right. If we had time for that, I want to just add one last
absolutely
tweet that I had seen today.
Sure. Plus we have to give
it was from
Smurfy Power some time.
Yes. It was from Jaron R.M. Johnson.
Okay.
And it was the poll to end all polls. And the poll had two choices. The first choice was dungeons. The second choice was dragons. Mm-hmm. What do you choose?
Dungeons.
You choose dungeons?
Of course.
Interesting. I do not choose dungeons. And as it turns out, most people do not choose dungeons.
Yeah, well.
I chose dragons. I think a dragon presents a more engaging combat. Dragons. Did I say dungeons or did I say dragons? Now I'm confusing myself. I choose dragons.
Right.
They present a more engaging combat.
They shouldn't. a true dragon shouldn't even. It's almost godlike.
Mm-hmm.
And it almost shouldn't even be in combat. It shouldn't even be a combat.
Mm-hmm. I just think that they're more interesting. Dungeons, from the experiences I've had in dungeons,
right?
I don't love them. I find them tedious in the end. I think more than anything.
So I am a fan of the Underdark.
Okay.
And the Underdark, the way you get there is through dungeons.
Mm-hmm.
And I just always find that dungeons hold more surprises.
Mm.
But you know what? I'm talking from the DM side.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, a dragon fight, if I do a dragon fight right, there's no reason for you guys to survive. There's zero reason for you to survive. Because they're just awesome. And if they're played right, players shouldn't have a chance. But that's why I picked dungeons. Among other reasons.
Alex also chose dungeons.
Yeah, smart man.
And his argument for choosing dungeons is similar to an argument that I made earlier, in that you have to travel through the dungeons to get to the dragons.
Not always. Most dragons don't always live in dungeons.
So not that. Not literally that. So you have to level up.
Oh,
you have to earn the right to combat and potentially.
You could also wipe
successfully a dragon.
You could also continuously wipe out legions and legions of goblins,
Mm-hmm.
just like they did in South Park when they were in World of Warcraft and they were just stuck in the newbie zone.
Oh my God! All right, well that ends our headlines, our topic discussions for the evening. Why don't we move on to the next section? What are you watching, reading, listening to?
Okay.
I'm going to do it. Let's do them all at once because I don't have a lot of things to talk about.
So, all right. So I just finished reading.
Oh, you finished?
I just finished it tonight,
wow.
before you got here. Book 2 of A Land Fit for Heroes called The Cold Commands by Richard K. Morgan.
What'd you think?
So I thought I liked it. The main character is something else, and I think the last book is going to bring it all out and bring it together. This is the second book where he's evolved into something darker. But he's also the hero. So I read right at the end he turns it off, so to speak. Okay. So we'll see how it goes in the next book. But I'm liking it so far. I'm enjoying it. Okay. I don't know what I'm going to do after that. I am watching Star vs. the Forces of Evil again. Because I like it. It's really good. It's got an awesome plot line. And The Amazing World of Gumball, which is actually on off camera, just to my right, Morgan's right. You might be your left. Who knows what you're looking at? But it's on the TV now, and it keeps distracting me when I look over at Morgan.
Oh, we got our answer from Smurf.
All right. You're talking about using your smell to lure people to you. Poison Ivy uses her toxins, pheromones, to lure people to her. That's the word you use, your pheromones, yeah. So, yeah. It's a little gross version of Poison Ivy.
So gross and adorable and horrible.
Yeah. I like Poison Ivy better.
Okay, well.
I mean, I wouldn't go rolling around in it or anything, but you know what I'm saying. Okay,
so what? Listening to? Nothing?
I am still not listening to. What I think I'm going to do is after book 3, I switch because I'm listening to it on Audible anyway. Okay. So when I'm done with book 3 from Richard K. Morgan, then I'll go probably for about 3 or 4 weeks. I'll go back into music and just listen to stuff.
So as for me, whoever bet that I would not have read anything this week would have won. I'm still not reading anything.
I think that was Smurfy.
It was Smurfy. Yeah. She was placing bets. I don't know if anybody actually got it on the table before I just spoiled it. But
I was not gonna. That's a sucker's bet.
But I am not currently reading anything, and I knew I was gonna get in trouble for it too. But
well, who yelled at you?
Oh, I'm yelling at myself. Watching. Just finished Hannah. Not sure how they want to go. He pronounces it Hannah in the show.
So then it's Hannah.
It was good. I liked it. Endings are endings, and they're sad. This particular ending, I didn't care for. Well, at least a very specific part of the ending, which I will not spoil. I did not care for. But I will inevitably watch season 2 when it comes out. I'm also watching The Expanse. Which I'm
very good. Yes,
liking a lot. I think I'm at episode 9 now, so interesting stuff. The plot's finally kind of culminated at this point. So,
right.
So we'll see.
That's
whether,
on Prime.
Yes.
Correct.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So we'll see whether or not we get any resolutions this season, or if I have to keep waiting, I'll wait, because I'm going to keep watching it. I really enjoy it. As for listening to, I'm listening to Cage the Elephant, as I just made good on the National Concert Week deals and bought myself $20 tickets to go see Cage the Elephant and Beck, which I'm excited for.
Sounds like fun.
Yeah, it'll be a good time.
And I'm laughing at Amazing World of Gumball over Morgan's shoulder. Sorry.
What?
No. The Amazing World of Gumball over your shoulder.
Yeah,
when I was looking at you, he was jumping in and out of portals, shooting a gun.
That's funny.
And it was hysterical. Smurfy said the odds of Morgan saying she has read something this week. I wonder if that came across before you said you...
I know, right? I am curious. All right,
you're a horrible person.
Shameless plugs.
All right, so we're going to continue to give a special thanks to DiceGeeks until he comes on the show.
Yeah.
We'll still give him thanks after that, but just to point it out, go and check out DiceGeeks.com, or you can find his books on Amazon.
Mm-hmm. Or am I going now?
Sure, why not?
Patreon. It's growing, and you can be a part of it. As you know by now, the $5 tier does include content that has not been released, that will not be released on YouTube, as well as other places. Mm-hmm. So sign up, support us, and enjoy some insights that you wouldn't get to otherwise.
The first map for the Short Rest Chronicles, as soon as I can translate it to something electronic, will go up, because you guys are done with the Scarlet Keep.
Cool. Oh, that's awesome.
If you haven't seen this week's episode, you should check it out, because they finally found the seed pod at the Scarlet Keep, and they've moved south to the Glass Wall, to Glass Wall Pass, and now they met a couple of gnomes.
Mm-hmm. My brothers of the South.
Maybe.
I don't think they like us, but that's okay.
Well, you're not fighting us,
so let's. We also do want to support our friends over at the TSR Games blog, and the Game Master Games, Dave Vanderwerf, and his weekly Facebook Live event.
Moving on to our quick notes as we wrap up. Octopath Traveler, a spiritual successor to Final Fantasy III. Thank you. They're saying that Octopath Traveler is a spiritual successor to Final Fantasy III.
Okay.
V1 6. So thank you to Newbie DM. I will probably be trying that. I like the Final Fantasy series. I like the way it progresses.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Cool. Free RPG Day is almost here. June 15th. Hey, that's my birthday.
Oh.
I got to do something now at the store.
For free. For
free already. And everyone else. That's awesome. So I'll be checking that out, obviously.
As a note, both Numenera and Invisible Sun are Origins Awards nominees this year. Yes. Steve is actually a store signed up with Monty Cook's. They have something like Adventures League for Numenera, and Steve has got the books and supported them on Kickstarter.
Oh wow!
And he's looking into doing that. He's looking for a group to sit down and do that, but like he says, the group has to want to be part of it, and we have to sit down and we have to make characters together and stuff like that.
Okay.
So he's also waiting for a couple of other things before he finishes that, but
I'll have to ask him about that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know anything about that. All right, Legendary Realms games. We've got a Tuesday night recap. Oh gosh, pulling at the heartstrings. I almost missed a very important session. One of the other tables was low on players, and I had been warned that they were in a very dangerous situation. So I considered sitting in with them to give a little assistance. When I realized that we were finally at the childhood home of one of my traveling companions, though, I realized I could not do that. And thank God I did not, because it was epic. Epic. How about Magic the Gathering Friday Night Draft this Friday? Last Friday was released.
No, last Friday was pre-release.
Pre-release,
yes.
Okay. So this weekend.
They expanded over 2 weekends.
Wow.
Pre-release and then release.
Wow. That's exciting.
We also have Switch It Up Saturdays, but please check with the store before coming down, with release weekend being there. Events may vary. I think he's still doing it, but I think John wanted to change the time.
Sure.
Monday is War Machine Casual, and Monday night is Magic the Gathering Open Commander Play.
Well, that wraps us up.
Wraps us up in a blanket.
It's too warm in here. No blanket. No blanket talk.
What?
I was sweating
What about,
beforehand.
That's because you were running around like a mad woman.
I was.
Hanging our
Do you
curtains.
like our drapes?
Yeah, hanging our drapes. Curtains.
Fancy. Well, thank you for joining us tonight. As always, you can follow us on Twitter at LRTerrain. You can follow us on Instagram at Legendary Realms Games, or you can join us on Patreon at LR Games.
And I am Rich Parla.
I'm Morgan West. Thank you for watching.
Also, before we log off, subscribe.
Yes, we're only 5 subscribers away from our first goal. It's very exciting. If you like what we're producing, please share it on your social media. Tell your friends about it if they're interested in gaming like you are. It would mean a lot to us.
And we will start doing more and more topics as we get better at scripting.
Yeah. We're improving.
We are improving, one step at a time.
Yes, absolutely.
Thank you very much.
Have a great night, and we will see you next week.
We will see you next week.